What's up, everybody? Welcome to Ask Kinda Funny Games Anything for March 2017. I'm one of your hosts, Greg Miller. Actually, your only host. This is Nick Scarpino. He's playing Zelda. He's not in this. Basically, if you've never seen one of the Ask Kinda Funny Anythings, it goes like this. Over on patreon.com/kindafunnygames, the first of every month, we put up a thing saying, hey, this month's Ask Kinda Funny Games person is going to be blank. This month it was me. You left questions for me. Then at the end of the month, we take those questions, answer those questions, and put them up on YouTube for everybody to see. Of course, if you want to get your questions read, it's over on patreon.com/kindafunnygames, $15 and up level. You might say $15 to get a question asked or read. Fuck you. And it's like, well, no. It also gets you early access to every show. It gets you the bonus episode. It gets you entered to win the prizes we give away on Twitch whenever we do it, even though you don't have to be there. It doesn't matter. Anyways, though, we just did the Gamescast exclusive where Nick went through and played Zelda, and we all talked about Zelda while it's happening. And then Nick just doesn't want to stop playing Zelda, so he's going to keep playing Zelda while I answer your questions for me.
It's too good.
It is too good. I agree with that 100%. So let's kick it off with Zach Bryce. I'm just going to go right down from the order Patreon has them up. Zach Bryce. Greg, do you think we'll see another Infamous game? And if we do, what would you want from it? I do think you'll eventually see another Infamous game. I don't think it'll be soon. I think Sucker Punch's next game is going to be new IP, new something. When I'd like to imagine, it's one of those weird things, because I can see it going either way, honestly, where no, they are done with Infamous or not. The reason I think they'll be back is that I think Second Son is not remembered as fondly as Infamous 1 and 2 were, right? Second Son was, oh wow, that game was pretty, it was really pretty. I loved, the voice acting. I loved the sound effects. I loved how it felt like really Seattle. I didn't like how it felt like an older version of a game. That's what I was talking about, right? When I talk about it, it still was all the, hey, there's a giant camera pointing down. Go over there and do that mission, blah, blah, blah. And then the story was kind of stupid. I think they'd want another crack at that at some point, and what I'd hope they would do, and I know it sucks, hope they would do is pick back up with Cole, do something with Cole, not reboot it, but I think that you could do, Lightning Strike and made a 3. Like, let's just say he's back alive and Zeke's doing something. I know it doesn't make sense, but who cares? Who fucking cares?
Get down the hill, you stupid fucking horse.
So one day you'll see it. Will it be Sucker Punch? I don't know. That's another thing. Maybe somebody else picks it up along the line, similar to what happened with Sucker Punch's other game, Sly Cooper, where Sanzaru got into it. But one day, maybe, not anytime soon. Jason Bond. What do I want to see from I said Cole? Jason Bond. Is there any possibility of a meet and greet in the Montreal area? Well, as you know, love of my life, Geneviève St. Ange is up in Montreal. The problem is that usually when I'm going up to see her there, it's a short trip, number one, and number two, I haven't seen her in a while, so I like to spend all my time with her. So we haven't done the meet and greet kind of things. I've been doing Canadian meet and greets with the whole heel kick thing. Of course, yeah, by the time this posts, it'll be, 2 weeks until I'm going up to Vancouver with Nick Scarpino, actually.
Yeah, boy, it's going to be fun.
To go see heel kick and do the after party there, so you can come meet and greet me there. But I know that Vancouver and Montreal on different sides of the world. Geneviève St. Ange coming to that as well, though, so if she's coming from Montreal, what's your excuse? Oakley Waldron. Hey, Greg. What's the most disappointed you've been with a game? I.e. something you thought was going to be great but wasn't. And then the opposite. A game that shocked you by how good it actually was. Keep up the great work. Sending love from the UK Heart. Thank you, Oakley. It's a tired answer, I think, but the game I'm the most disappointed I've ever been with the game, Superman 64. I was a Sega kid, as I've talked about so many times here, and I'll never forget opening Wizard magazine, and they had one little sidebar column and one screenshot from Superman 64, and they were like, hey, Titus is making this game, Superman 64, it's coming to and I remember being like, fuck, I'm gonna buy an N64 for this game. Like, I'm gonna be on the N64 train, but of course it got delayed a million times, so I had an N64 before a hardcore release date for Superman 64. But I'll never forget when I went and bought that game, and I was so excited. I pre-ordered it. I left the store, got into my car, because I was driving this time, right? Got in the car, and I had stepped in gum in the mall parking lot, and I would say it was like the mall itself was trying to hold me there to get me to go return the game. And took it home and popped it in, and it was just like, what the fuck is this? What the fuck is this game? Are you kidding me? And all the fog and all the things and the terrible flying controls and all the shit. Nope. And I played through it, and it took me a good 24 hours to be like, holy shit, this game's bad. Like, this game's not only bad, it's bad. And I had a friend who also had bought it, and like, I remember catching up with him a week later, and he's like, yeah, and blah, blah, and I went through and I beat Brainiac, and I'm like, oh my God. And he's like, where are you? I'm like, dude, I stopped playing a long time ago. When I failed some fucking mission against Metallo or something because I was throwing the car wrong, I was like, fuck this piece of shit. The epilogue and silver lining, of course, Superman 64, is the fact that the multiplayer was so terrible, it was fun to play. Because everybody got Lois Lane and Lex Luthor and you and Brainiac all got into little bullets that were supposed to be spaceships, and you flew around trying to shoot each other, but the worlds were so big that what me and my friends would do is that what you would deem somebody to go hide and play hide and seek. And then I would just go and people would screen sheet, but I would still just go and you fly the nose of the plane close to a wall, and the textures were so bad. Everybody's like, he's looking at something purple. And then they'd all run around the world trying to find you. And it would take like 15 minutes because that game was fucking garbage. And the opposite, a game that shocked me with how good it actually was. I always go back to Gone Home. I know it's more recent, of course, but it's one of those, I think, that hype gets in the way of so many games, right? Especially games like, because I can talk about this opposite way first, right? Where I have trusted friends in the industry, they play a game and they come back and they're like, holy shit, do you need to play this game? And I'm like, oh fuck, okay, great. And I went and the example of that is Oxenfree, where Oxenfree on paper sounds like a total fucking Greg game. I should be all over this thing. These multiple endings, it's all about relationships. It's serious subject matter. It's cool. It's beautiful. I'm like, great. And I remember, I think it was Marty and Mitch I went to brunch with, and they'd already played it, and they were like, if it was coming, it was because it was like one of those things where they had the code right before the turn of the year, but it wasn't out until the next year, which I guess it would have been this year. Does that sound right? Is that how long we've been doing this? No, longer than that. Anyways, they were like, if it would have come out, like this would have been in the running for Game of the Year this past year. It's like, holy shit. And so I went home and played it that night, and I was just like, well, this is all right, but what? And so like that was the thing with Gone Home, where Gone Home was, I remember, I think it was Marty, and I want to say Justin McElroy, and like people who were like, don't read any reviews, go play this game, you blah, 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 blah. And I was like, all right, fine. And I remember being like, well, I don't like horror games that much. And I'm playing that game, and I'm trying to trigger the ghost, and da-da-da-da, and then you play through it, and it's like, oh, that's a cool subplot. Oh, and you're going through, and you're like, wait, is that the plot of this game? This is what this game's about? Holy shit, this is fucking awesome. And so I was totally floored by how good that was. Like, totally caught me off guard. I had no business, I think, being that good. Patrick Cannon. Greg, what do you think is the best comic book game pre-Arkham Asylum / Infamous? So 2009-ish. The best comic book game before those games. I mean, a shout out to Spider-Man 2. Again, Spider-Man 2 not good in terms of a story. Spider-Man 2 great in terms of you are Spider-Man and this is your open world New York. Go around, there are random crimes. This kid's lost his balloon, stop the car. It gets repetitive really quick, but it was still, man, holy shit, I'm exploring this world and I am Spider-Man and I am protecting them and I am doing all these things. That's fucking awesome. Before that, I think Spider-Man games actually had a really good thing going for them, right? I thought the Neversoft Spider-Man on PS1 was really good. Over there on the shelf is Spider-Man on Sega Genesis. I thought that was really good. For being a DC fan, where I just get shit down my throat nonstop, whether it is a comic book or a video game comic book, movie, or a video game.
Bring it on yourself.
I don't bring it on myself. I just like things. Death and Return of Superman was a fine side scroll and beat 'em up that actually was pretty. It was tied into the canon so well, right? And it was the fact of like, holy shit, I'm playing right now as Steel and Superboy and Cyborg Superman. Like, I never ever thought that would happen in a video game, but here I am doing it. So those were good ones. Not nearly as good as Arkham Asylum and Infamous, I don't think, but really excited to see what Sucker Punch got up, Insomniac's got up their sleeves for Spider-Man. Griffin Carr. Greg, do you think things would be different between Sony and Microsoft if the Xbox came out when the PS1 did? Did entering the gaming space, a console behind Sony, hurt Microsoft in the long run? Hard to say, right? I mean, they've traded off as they've gone. You figure you come out with the Xbox, okay, fine, it's getting clowned out by the PS2, but you take your lumps and you figure out what you're doing. Then you come out with the Xbox 360, and again, you're trading off of who's coming out when, right? Come out with the Xbox 360, for the most part, clowns out PS3. Eventually, sales numbers catch up and do all these different things. But in terms of mind share, right? Then Xbox One, we've seen the switch again back to PlayStation 4. I think they keep trading off, and I think that's great for the industry. I think it's good for both these companies too, because that's what happened both with PlayStation 2 to PlayStation 3 and Xbox 360, Xbox One, is that you get cocky. You get this hubris about you of, we know what we're doing and people will follow us no matter what, right? And that's what PlayStation did when they're like $599 US, Ridge Racer. And everybody's like, go fuck yourself. That's not even remotely worth that. And it was the same thing when Xbox came out and they're like, we're reading the tea leaves. Hey, everybody, Call of Duty, TV, Call of Duty, Connect. And everybody's like, well, no, PlayStation's putting out games, and that's what I want to go play. And so there's that constant trade-off. It's going to be interesting to see the next go-around what happens. And I don't even mean Scorpio. I mean what happens with the next main consoles. Are we going to start going back to, well, these machines do so much? Or is it going to be, no, these machines make fucking great games and great gaming experiences? Adam Kelly says, hey, Greg, who made or where did you /IGN get the PlayStation game posters that are made to look like classic NES game covers? Thanks. Ethan Betancourt says, always wondered about that too. It's one of those things we answer a lot, and I totally don't blame you for missing. So when IGN moved from the old place in Brisbane, which is 15 minutes outside of the city, 30 minutes outside of the city, depending on traffic, to downtown, they wanted a cool office, and I think they succeeded so much. And what they did is they had one of the guys who... he was on GameSpy, and then he moved all around IGN. But Brian Miggles, who now works over at Sledgehammer Games on the Call of Duty stuff, Brian Miggles was also is an artist, I should say. And they asked him to go. All right, take the Killzone 2 box, make an Atari-like box art for Killzone 2, make an NES one for Gears of War, and make those styles. And he made all of those, and then they printed them on canvas and they hung them up. And then I'm such a big Infamous fan, I believe it was for a Christmas. We moved in March. Maybe it was my birthday or whatever. I remember saying how awesome it would be if they would have done one for Infamous, and because they didn't. And so Christine, my ex, reached out to Brian and got him to do one of Infamous for me that now hangs in my living room, and you see it all the time when we take video or do photos there. Oh, I thought I didn't know what that was for a second. You're doing your...
I did it a little early.
All right, yeah. So Brian Miggles, you can hit him up. What is he? B Miggs on Twitter? B Miggles on Twitter?
I'm not sure.
I'll check real quick.
Oh, gosh.
You clowning out this thing? You gonna kill these Guardians? Twitter.com. There it is. And then B-Mig? Yeah, B-Migs. B-M-I-G-G-S. Give him a shout out. Give him that sweet, nasty love. Say you love those posters from back in the day. Or wherever you want. Christopher Leone says, hey, Greg, what do you think would make a wrestling game awesome? It seems like they are on the right track, but each year always seems to be missing something with the WWE 2K series. Agreed. I've said this before and I'll say it again. What I think they need to do is make a modern, whatever one you want to call it, WCW NWO Revenge, WrestleMania 2000, WWF No Mercy. One of those games where we're so hung up on, does it look like programming? Does it look like a sim? And I think you can still have that game. You can put out that game for the gamer WWE fan who wants a game that looks super realistic. I think there's a market to say, okay, cool, but here's the more cartoony, the more not generic but easier to digest WWF No Mercy. I'm just gonna start saying No Mercy.
Oh shit.
And I know a lot of people when I say this like to say, well, they did that. They did All Stars. They did WWE All Stars. And I was like, no, that was too over the top. The characters were too crazy. That was playing a super cartoon. Whereas when you played WWF No Mercy, it was realistic enough that you were fine with it, and it was blood, and it was barbed wire bats, but it was wrestling, and it was drop kicks, and it was double team moves, and it was, as I said earlier, I think on one of the shows we did today, it was easy to understand and difficult to master. Anyone could jump in and play and understand a strong grapple, weak grapple, and be out in and out and all that stuff. It was just like, I don't understand why they're not making that as a downloadable game, not even every year. Just make it once and do it where it's 30 superstars, 15 classic, 15 current. It's this simple grapple. They would make money hand over fist if they're like, we understand. And I understand that like AKI made it not, THQ internal, not, now 2K. I understand all that, but there's still, it's not that hard to wrap around because that's what people wanted. What I loved about those games is what I hate about the games now is the fact that in No Mercy, I sat there and made my entire Backyard Wrestling Federation, right? Every one of us. And they had enough clothing options and facial things in there where you'd look at this and be like, damn, that is really good. That looks like Faf. That looks like me. That looks like Jason. Like we looked like the characters. Were they pixel perfect? No, of course not. Because guess what? Triple H didn't look pixel perfect. When everything's a little blurred, when everything's like good enough, it was that thing. Now, where it is like Xavier Woods or whoever enters in WWE 2K17, you're like, it looks pretty good, but why isn't this moving that way? Blah, blah. And then you try to make yourself and like bring your face in, and it's like, oh, my face didn't input right. But like, there's too many options. It's too deep right now to make it look awesome. So you're always like uncanny valley, where it's like, well, why is their hair reacting? Why? Like, fuck that. Let's make it more simplified. Put it out as a downloadable game for $20. Let a team go at it for a while and make this fucking awesome game that I miss so goddamn much. Ethan Benacourt has a question now. He says, "Hey Greg, what's your favorite open world from a game and why?" Oof, that's a tough one. Oh, my favorite open world from a game and why? I mean, it's not going to surprise anybody, I don't think, and I'm trying to make sure I click through it all before I stop and say it. And it's not the best open world by any means, but running through them all just to make sure.
Oh shit.
I mean, you know how much I love Infamous, and I think that's the thing. Like, I loved it's hard for me to say. I think I liked Empire City more than New Marais, but yeah, I had more of an affinity for Infamous 1, but I think New Marais is probably the better open world. But the street performers and the different districts and the way that game felt like it was changing with you. Like, I'll never forget in the original Infamous in Empire City, right? The first time when I was looking for a blast shard and I climbed up this pole and I'm looking, I'm like, fuck, where is this goddamn bow? And finally I turned the camera around and like a group of people had gathered behind me and were taking photos of me. And I was like, oh, that's fucking awesome. Like, what? And like, you know what I mean? Like, don't get me wrong, it's super dated now to go back and play this PS3 game, da da da. But at the time, you're like, fuck, that's rad. And I loved how every district was broken up and had different enemies. And I know every open world has that now. And don't get me wrong, I think Seattle is super awesome in Infamous Second Son, but that game just doesn't connect the way. There was something so special about that first Infamous that I loved Empire City and I loved that character and I loved the fact that it was, we are unabashedly making a comic book game, even though this is our own IP and it's not. There is no comic book world already. We get to do whatever we want with it. So I guess Empire City is always going to have that place in my heart, even though I think people have done it. I mean, Horizon's open world's awesome, right? Fucking Zelda's open world's awesome. But I think as far as a place in my heart and somebody I thought that like fucking blew me away at the time, I'll go with them. Paul Joyce says, "Hey Greg, if you could go back and experience one game for the first time all over again, what would it be?" Looking at the wall of games I have over here. I mean, Gone Home, of course, caught me off guard and blew me away. I do love that. That's a good reference point. Batman Arkham Asylum. Yeah. How great Batman Arkham Asylum was. Like, I'll never forget leaving the demo for when they came by to show us Batman Arkham Asylum. It was me, Anthony Gallegos. He was covering it for 1UP. Or maybe it was GameSpy. I think it was 1UP, though. And we left, and they left. The developers left. And he was like, so that was pretty cool. And I was like, was it? Because I can't tell, like, because the demo was like, you're the silent predator, so like, let's sneak around and do all this shit. And then it was like, and now we're just mashing B and beating the shit out of everybody and reversing every so often. I was like, all right, okay, like, I don't, those, how do those mash up together to make one game? How do they mesh into one game? And so I'll never forget sitting, I got a copy, I got the review copy of Arkham Asylum, went home, Jim Riley came over, and we sat, I popped it in, and there was immediately a screen tear and all stuff. And I remember looking at Jim and him looking at me like, oh God, is this about to go fucking, and then we played it for hours and hours and hours. And it's like, fuck, this is awesome. They've totally nailed this. And what a great group of guys and gals, and they deserved everything they got from that one. So I'd say, yeah, let's do Arkham Asylum again. Nathan Nielsen says, hello to you, Greg. What pain points do you think the Switch needs to overcome in the coming months in order to succeed as a new platform? Tastier game cards? No. Poison these game cards. Make sure nobody in Portillo never eats them. Neither does Alana Pierce. Pain points for the Switch. I think it's the little stuff that we care about, the hardcore audience cares about, because they already have us, right? As I've said before, I think everybody who has a Switch talks about how much they love the Switch. Like I don't know any people, and I think I see when I say this on like the Kind of Funny morning show, I think I get a tweet here and there about it. Like, no, I do not. I regret buying mine, but it's few and far between. I think like I was talking about it in the Zelda Gamescast exclusive we just did, which will be available Sunday on patreon.com/kindoffunnygames for everybody who gives $1 or more. You know, like I think it's stupid, right, that you can't get your saves off somebody else's system. So like I have my Switch, right, and right now, of course, Genevieve Saint-Onge lives up in Montreal, so my Switch is gonna stay with me. But when she comes to visit, and let's say she buys her own Switch, like I'd like to give her her profile and her Zelda save, but I can't do that. I guess you think you can log in as yourself, but you don't get the saves off, right? There's no way to transfer saves. That's stupid. They have to justify what the fuck this online's going to be, because like I'm excited for Mario Kart and I want to play Mario Kart with people, but is it going to be worth what is it? Looked over the $20 is it? What is it? The online pass for Switch or whatever? Hold on. Nintendo.
Oh, can't do that.
Switch online.
I'm missing something very here.
What are you missing?
I don't know.
Okay.
I'm clearly not doing this right.
Well, the Verge says it'll cost less than $30 a year. $17 to $26 range. How old is this? Don't we have a real price on this? Thought we had a real price on this. Nintendo Switch online service. I'm gonna switch online service, launching this free trial period. Play online. Monthly game downloads, exclusive deals, online lobby. Well, whatever the fuck they're charging for it. Less than $30, we'll say. Is it gonna be worth that? Am I gonna care about that? I don't know. You gotta justify that and make it. I think the Switch has so much goodwill behind it. It's right now not fucking it up. It's announcing cool games. It's delivering on your promise. It's putting out a lot of cool nindies. Good job. Good job, Nick. Israel Kadengo. Israel Kadengo says, hey Greg, or hi Greg, sorry. Hope you're having an awesome day. I am. Brace yourself. My question is about Knack, motherfucker. I enjoyed Knack, but feel it was unnecessarily drawn out. I feel the app/mobile game made it easier to enjoy with unlocking modes and collecting those Knack trinkets. Question is, how would you have made Knack different or more enjoyable? Here's the thing. I've only played, I mean, I shit on Knack all the time, right? But it's mainly because I played it at preview events and I was like, this game does not need to exist in this year, which would have been 2015. No, it's 2017 now, right? Fuck, we're so old.
Yeah, we're really old.
Can you believe how old we are?
No, I don't like to think about it. I'm pushing 40.
Wow. When are you turning 40?
3 years.
Oh, that's not, you're not pushing 40 then.
Still, it's closer to 40 than I am to 30. My 20s are a myth at this point. They're so far in the past.
You can't even remember them.
No
do you do that where you think about stuff? You're like, man, it's so stupid. You know what I mean? Like, I was so dumb. What was I thinking?
I do lots of that.
Jesus.
Oh my God.
God, it's 2017. Fuck. So it would have been 2013. Hold on. Yeah. That sounds wrong, but that's right, isn't it? Yeah, the console was released November 15th, 2013 in the United States, Canada. Oh, I just licked the microphone too. Yeah, so I played it preview and thought it sucked, and then Colin actually tried to play, and he's like, it hard locked my system 4 times, and I stopped playing. I'm like, well, fuck this game. It's not for me. So, like, well, I mean, I would have given Knack more personality, I think. That's the thing. From voice acting to the main character, all these different things, it just seemed like a generic platformer from what I played of it, and that's everything I heard about it. So, personality would have been the thing and put more fun into it, right? RJ Davis. Hello, Greg. Besides being in the 2 Lego games, what other game would you like to lend your voice to, be it a cameo or starring role? Also, I can't wait to meet you guys and all the best friends at Kinda Funny Live 3. Kinda Funny Live, June 3rd. Can't wait. So I've been in a Lego game, correct, Avengers, and I've been in DC Universe Online. I play Superboy in DC Universe Online, so it really doesn't get much better than that. That's what I always wanted to do, and that's what, I mean, what else would I want to play? I mean, like, come on, like, that would be it. I'd want to play Superboy in something else. But it's not, like, that's the whole thing about it, is, like, those are cool opportunities that have presented themselves to me. They've never been things I've chased. Like, I'm so happy to be a idiot who talks about video games on the internet with his friends. I'm including you there, is what I mean. That I'm so happy doing that I don't know, like, I'm never gonna chase something. I think it'd be really cool to have. I would love to have little kind of funny cameos in like Lego Dimensions or something, just in the background, just characters there. We don't talk or anything. Just like, you know, there's some crowd scene and you see us in the background. That'd be fun. My fear of being in a video game is I'm just gonna fuck it up. You know what I mean? Because I'm not a professional actor, and I know it sounds like it's easy doing those the Lego Marvel game, like in a booth when they're like, all right, now you've fallen off of this, now you've fallen off of that. Do it more like and it's like at the end I was just Liam O'Brien from Critical Role was the voice director on that game, and like towards the end I'm just parroting back what he's doing, and I felt like such an asshole. I'm like, dude, like you could have come in here and cranked through this in like 15 minutes, and here I am like 2 hours later, like, and you're just trying to nail it. You did a great job, but it's just like, I'm not trained for that. It's not who I am. Mario, not bros, Picadio says, is this 2-month period when we're getting masterpiece after masterpiece, aka Zelda, Horizon, ME, Persona, perhaps one of the best 2 months in video games? Can you recall anything similar? We are getting so many amazing games in one. No, I can't think of a time like this. And there's been years where great things have come out, right? Where it is Ocarina of Time, Metal Gear Solid, right? I got that one right? Because I remember that was one of our arguments for best years of gaming. But again, that was the best years of gaming. We're talking about the best weeks of gaming right now. And you call it a bunch of stuff here, but like For Honor's killing it. People really like that. Wildlands didn't get me crazy, but a lot of people really like that. Night in the Woods came out. Like, there's so much shit happening right now where you got to step back and be like, this is insane. And it fucking sucks for some of these games. It sucks for Night in the Woods because that game's right at my alley and I totally want to play it. But when am I going to do that? When I want to go home and play Zelda, let alone go home and play Persona, let alone make more progress in Mass Effect. Too much stuff happening, Nick.
I appreciate that.
You do appreciate that. I appreciate you for saying that.
I'm climbing up the fucking surface of the sun right now. So, there's that.
I think you're going to be okay.
You think I'm going to be okay?
Yeah.
I can make it.
Keith A. Lewis, hey Greg, what's dead game franchise that you'd love to see revived? I mean, for years the answer's been Patapon. I don't know if we count this PS4 remaster as it being resurrected. You know what I mean? Like, I'd like to see a Patapon 4. I'd like to see a new Patapon. Hopefully this one sells well enough to get it. I have always thought, and it's the same vein, I guess, I always thought Parappa needed another chance. Like a modern chance. But again, maybe that happens after this remaster deal. I mean, you know, Tim would say Crash, but I think that's like a real from the ground up game. The Insane Trilogy. What's I want to say Blood Raven, but that's not it. And I know Blood Rain, right? That was the one that the Way Forward guys did one. Blood Rain. Yeah, from Majesta. Blood Rain, I wanted to like a lot when it originally came out. And you're like, all right, yeah, this game looks cool, and it's got a protagonist, and we're shooting all this stuff. An action hack and slash game. Well, that would be a good one to redo some stuff with. Dead franchise, I'd love to see come back.
I'm climbing this hill.
See, the other thing too is the games never stay dead, right? They're like comic book characters. Don't look at me like that.
I don't look at you like shit.
Okay, you better not, motherfucker.
I'll do what I want. Look how high I am right now in this thing.
She's so high.
I crushed that one. Boom.
Dead video game.
This game's like Disneyland where you're like, oh, I know where I am.
Is it? Oh, Advance Wars. There you go. And I know we're kind of getting that spiritual successor on Switch here in a little bit.
Did you beat Advance Wars?
No, fuck no. We talked about this in the other one.
Did anyone ever beat Advance Wars?
Some people did, but yeah, eventually you're slamming your head into a wall. You're like, fuck that.
Like, I can't beat this. This strategy is...
I don't want to do this anymore. It's killing me. Yeah, Advance Wars would be great. I love Advance Wars.
I do too. It was fun.
Yeah. A Pokemon Snap too. Give me that Pokemon Snap. All right, jump back over here. Jeremy Stallam. Hey, Greg. Do you feel like there will be more third-party support if the Switch continues to have more success in the future? Also love the show. I do. I think a lot of people are taking notice of how well the Switch is doing. I don't think you're gonna. That means that okay, EA is gonna come out and fucking port Mass Effect or something like that, or they're gonna make a Mass Effect for it. I think it'll be more of these nindies, it'll be more of these little indie games, but I think they'll have a place there while Nintendo bolsters it with their third-party first-party AAA games, and then it becomes a thing of like, okay, it is sold really well, it is doing different things. There aren't a lot of games on it, so why not take one of our smaller teams? I'm Ubisoft. Why not, take UbiArts and let them make something cool in the vein of I want to say Valiant Hearts. Yeah, Valiant Hearts, right? The war game. Double check. I'm saying that right. I'm a bit fried right now. But the World War I game, right? Not that game, but I'm saying make something cool. Yeah, the Great War. Okay, Valiant Hearts, the Great War. Make something like that. You know what I mean? And go ahead and make a smaller. Because that's what I love about where we are right now. That you do have big companies, whether it be EA, whether it be Ubisoft, that have smaller indie-like teams. Square Enix, right? Square Enix Montreal, their Go games and stuff like that. Of course, full disclosure, Jen works there, and I'm not saying they're making. This is me just spitballing. Again, Square Enix, a big company, has teams that make small games. Why not let them go? Okay, go ahead, sure. All right, we'll give you this much money to invest in it. You go out there and do it. Turn it around in 9 months, a year, hopefully, and then we'll still be on a platform that a lot of people are excited about, and a lot of people have, and a lot of people want to play more games on. Like, there is a business model there. I don't think it is. All right, everybody, let's get. I was gonna call a lot of Sony first party, of course not. EA being like, all right, Visceral, go over and make a Star Wars game for the Switch. That's not gonna happen. But I do think you'll see more things over there because it has done well and people are positive about it. And if they can keep that momentum going and they have a great E3 and they show all these things, it does become, man, there's an audience there that is only there for their Nintendo games or their first party exclusives. Like, I hope that Mr. Shifty does incredibly fucking well there because it deserves it and that game looks great.
Scale of 1 to 10. How screwed is this guy right now?
He's fucked. No! You can do like the stealth attack.
I do.
Okay,
I just
okay.
screwed it up. I grabbed the wrong thing and it was not my best moment.
Morgan K. Hey, Greg. I am not sure if you've ever answered this question already, but would the 5 of you have left IGN if Patreon did not exist? Would you have used something like Indiegogo or a similar crowdfunding platform? I'm interested to know whether you would have continued to branch out on your own or stayed on at IGN. Love you and everything the 5 of you do. Say hi to your little croissant for me, you stud. Morgan K. Good question. Patreon definitely was a huge motivator for us in the way of, I always talk about it, right? The summer meeting where we came back, what does everybody need to actually leave if we wanted to leave IGN? We all came back with the figures of how much money we would need to survive in San Francisco. And we were all like, well, we don't make that on YouTube ads. And I think we launched the store maybe at that point. We weren't anywhere near that either. So it was like, cool, let's revisit this in a year and a half. And then it was like 2 weeks later that we found out about Patreon, met them, and changed our lives that way. So I think we wouldn't have, at least not in the same time frame, the same fashion, because it always happens, right? That we launched the first Patreon for Kind of Funny, and we didn't do it saying, this is it, man, we're launching this and we're fucking out of here. It was like, we're launching this and we're gonna see how this goes and blah, blah, blah. And it was that first day where you guys gave us $10,000 in 24 hours where we were like, fuck, they know we have great jobs and we can't talk about what they want us to talk about. What happens if we left and we started Kind of Funny Games? And what if we started another Patreon? We had another YouTube channel and all this different stuff. And like that really got it going. You figure, like, I don't want to get this wrong, Kickstarter. Yeah, I remember Comedy Button had done a Kickstarter, and that worked for them getting out of the gate. But then it was how, and I can't speak to their financials, but watching them from the outside, right, is that was, I remember Bromley actually, when we launched the Patreon, I remember some kid, fan like you're probably, maybe, hopefully somebody's still watching this because I like the idea of you standing around and still being here, tweeted at me and Bromley and was like, hey, I don't know why you're doing Patreon. You should have done a Kickstarter like Bromley and the other guys did. And Bromley responded back. He's like, nope, this is a way smarter move. They're going to make way more money because this isn't a one-time thing. You know what I mean? Comedy Button got all this money from you guys and your goodwill because they deserved it. And their show's awesome, of course. But they got it in one foul swoop and that was it. And people don't think about like, there's no easy way. Maybe there is now. Well, yeah, they have a Patreon now. At the time, though, there was no easy way to be like, I want to give them a little bit more money, and maybe I don't want that. Sure, like you can't just donate money to them at the time before fan funding, which has now gone away. Is that right? I think I saw Alana saying fan funding is no longer on YouTube anymore.
I think it still is.
Okay.
Oh no, I could be wrong.
I think I'm talking about. Like,
I know you can
super
tip
recently.
live streams now, but I don't. Maybe it's gone. Yeah.
Hold on. YouTube fan funding news. Yeah, YouTube introduces super chat, phases out fan funding. Like there's just, how do you give people money? How do you give content creators more money for things you are enjoying, you like it? Because that's the main thing, right? Like we see the back end numbers. The people supporting us on Patreon really aren't going in to see the early episodes or listen to the early episodes. A lot of you do, and that's fucking awesome. But the amount of you that have access to that, like, aren't doing it, and that's totally fine. I hope it's just because you support the content. You're here. You maybe want to win a fucking Chad one day. Love that Chad.
I love Chad too.
So yeah, it would have been different for us for sure. You say, I'm interested to know whether you would have continued to branch out on your own or stayed at IGN. I would have kept struggling, I think, because I was to that point where I wanted to do different things and I was getting opportunities to go do different things. And that would have then meant it very awkward and very weird. And maybe I would have left and had to do it on my own. And maybe, because how would I have gotten Colin with me or Tim with me if I was just going to go and like have more hosting opportunities and shit like that. But that's a different world that I'm glad we don't live in because life's pretty fucking awesome. Ahmed Al-Raisi. Hey, Greg. First of all, I love the show and the things you guys are doing. Heart. Been following you since your IGN days and just wanted to thank you in particular because you provided so many entertaining content throughout my childhood and teen years. So old, his childhood and teen years, Nick.
He was born, you were like in college.
Fuck. So as a huge comic fan, I was wondering if you are reading DC Rebirth. If so, what are your favorite series runs and why? Thanks. I am reading Rebirth. I am behind on my comics. It's just been super fucking busy this month, as I'm sure many of you know. And so I'm way behind on a lot of stuff. I love Super Sons. The thing that I love the most is that my Superman's back. I did not like New 52 Superman. I never connected with him. I liked him dating Wonder Woman. That was cool. But now that my Clark is back and my Lois is back and they have Jonathan, I think that's fucking awesome. And so those books are hit or miss. Sometimes I'll be reading Superman or Action. I'm like, holy shit, this is great. And then all of a sudden it's like, now we're on fucking the Lost Planet with the dinosaurs and shit. I'm like, why are we here? What? I was enjoying this over there. Why can't we have that? Like the issue of, well, first off, Trinity's fucking awesome. Trinity overall. Fantastic. But the issue of Superman or Action, I can never tell them apart. Where, Lois, like, they were going to the fair. And Lois, like, you can't be Superman tonight. You have to be you have to be Clark. You have to be a dad. And he's like, all right, cool. And then he, like, did all the super secret-y stuff. And, like, the very final panel is her hearing that somebody did a series. She's like, I knew it. And him, like, I mean, that was so fucking great. That is Superman. That is Clark Kent. That is why I love this stuff. I mean, American Alien, obviously, is such a great encapsulation of it. But to have it in a book like that, also amazing. And Trinity is fantastic as well. Trying to think if there's any. I like Nightwing. I'm happy Dick is back as Nightwing. I didn't like the whole secret agent angle, so I'm happy he's doing that. I was enjoying All New Superman, but I fall behind. Oh, I guess it's not New 52, or I guess it's not Rebirth. That Supergirl series that isn't in continuity, all is interesting. Christopher J. Brennan. Hey, Greg. It was great meeting you at PAX East. We had a long conversation after the panel about the Collins situation, and then I stole Nick's belt and gave it to you. Parentheses. There is no way he beat you without cheating. I kid. I got fucked by the Snake Pass people. Everybody knows it. My question is, do you think Sony will ever return to the Jak and Daxter series? It is the only mascot platformer series from the PS2 era, Jesus, that has gotten a new entry since then. Parentheses. Insomniac has kept the Ratchet series alive, and we even got a new Sly Cooper by the way of Zanzaru. Now, this isn't correct. It's the only mascot platformer series from the PS2 era that hasn't gotten a new entry since then. There was a PSP Jak and Daxter Lost Frontier that I do believe got ported over to PS3, but am I old enough where that's a PS2 port? I think I'm old enough that might have. Hold on. Jak and Daxter Lost Frontier. I said Lost Frontier.
Oh, fuck.
Lost Frontier. It was a PSP game. Where did it get ported over? 2009. Oh my god, it was a PS2 game.
You're old.
I am so old.
You're old.
God. Anyway, so that did happen. And it was not obviously Naughty Dog who did it. Who did it? I reviewed it and talked to him. High Impact Games. I think rest in peace on them. I understand the argument that Naughty Dog should not waste their time with the series and couldn't agree more. I'd much rather see their talents to make more games like Uncharted and The Last of Us. However, could we possibly see another studio handed the IP in the same way Zanzaru was given the Sly Cooper brand? Does Sony have control over the Jak and Daxter IP, or is it owned by Naughty Dog? Thank you and keep up the good work. P.S. I love you guys. No, Jak and Daxter is owned by Sony, and as I said here, they farmed it out to High Impact Games for a game that wasn't bad, but it's the same thing, right? Of, are we craving this game? And this is what we were talking about with Platonic and Yooka-Laylee. Is there an audience right now that's ravenous for that kind of thing? Like, people love Jak and Daxter. I have really fond memories of Jak and Daxter, but Jak and Daxter is not a game I sit around going like, man, I could go for another Jak and Daxter. Now, Ratchet switches itself up, overstayed its welcome, did a bunch of weird stuff, and then came back and was just like, all right, fuck, we're fucking awesome again. And you're like, all right, great, cool. This is great. I'm not saying you couldn't do that with Jak, but I do think the fact that Naughty Dog doesn't want to do it and shouldn't do it gets in the way of then somebody else doing it, sure, but then it's the same thing of like, it's always going to be compared to these other games. It'll never be as good as everybody wants it to be. Will you see it again? Of course. Everything's old. Everything that's old is new again. You're going to get all this shit again. Like, we're never getting away from these properties, but I don't know if you need to. God, I reviewed this game November 5th, 2009. Jak and Daxter. I'm going to read some of it to you, okay?
You go for it.
Jak and Daxter, The Lost Frontier review. Subhead, the boys are back in town.
Boys are back in town.
Oh, God. Oh, I already hate it. I hate reading old reviews.
Yeah.
It's been a while since Jak and Daxter teamed up for a proper adventure. The last true team up was Jak 3 in 2004. Then there was the the WTF kart racer known as Jak X, and then the Otzel struck out on his own in 2006 portable Daxter. After those titles, Naughty Dog ditched the PS2 and moved to Uncharted on the PS3, while Ready at Dawn took its PSP skills to God of War Chains of Olympus. For a while, Jak and Daxter drifted in the darkness. Now, High Impact Games is bringing the duo back in Jak and Daxter The Lost Frontier, a platforming dog-fighting tale landing on the PSP and PS2 this week. For the most part, the titles are returned to the simpler days of double jumping through Jak and Daxter the Precursor's legacy, parentheses, i.e., no Dark Jak. See, I'm a real fan, I know all that stuff. But some technical hitches hold it back from being a completely awesome experience. I'll just keep reading here. It's not that bad, actually, I guess. God, 2 pages. 2-page review on Jak and Daxter, The Lost Frontier. Keep scrolling. What do we got here? Because we used to do, they got rid of Breakdown Box. Oh, no, Breakdown Box in here. The verdict. I enjoyed Jak and Daxter, The Lost Frontier. I'm a fan, and there's like some weird formatting thing for when IGN ported it over again. I'm a fan of the series and thought the platforming was fun, the puzzles using the powers were cool, and the upgrading of ships and Jak provided some depth. Unfortunately, the empty environments, camera issues, and repetitive nature of some of the battles ding the game to a point that I can't give it a glowing recommendation. There's fun to be had here. There's fun to be had. There's fun to be had here. but it's all fucking weird. It could have been polished a bit more to bring out the value. 7.4. All right. Jack and Daxter.
Good review.
Thank you. Thank you very
I'd
much.
play that based on your recommendation.
Thank you very much. I bet you didn't back in the day though, right?
No, God, no.
Okay. Michael Blank. Greg, I'm really excited for the Insomniac Spider-Man game. It and Horizon are the two reasons I finally bought a PS4. I'm hoping for an open world New York I can swing around and save people in. What are you most excited for about this game? I'm excited that I don't know anything about it. I'm excited that it's Insomniac teaming up with Marvel and making their own Spider-Man, period, and full stop. It's not tied to the comics, not tied to the movies. It's its own thing, as evident by the suit and all these different things. I'm excited to see what they do. All right, cool. Like, this is what's awesome about Marvel games, is that they're teaming up with people who know how to make amazing fucking games and saying, all right, tell us your story. Tell us this thing. Play this thing. I assume it's going to be like Sunset Overdrive and here's this giant open world. Go and explore. Locomotion's great. That's awesome. Like, I mean, it's just, think about it and what's happening here. This is, even though it's not Sucker Punch doing it, it's the idea of an Infamous coming out. It's the idea of an Uncharted coming out that is about Spider-Man. It's hey, we are one of the top developers in the video game industry, and we are making a game for one platform where we can make it fucking awesome. We can get everything we can get out of that PlayStation 4 to make it look amazing. Fuck yeah. I can't wait to see what's up their sleeve and what's gonna happen next. Good job, Nick. Sean Bissonette. Hey Greg, since you guys weren't at the Rooster Teeth booth this year, did you get to check out more games at PAX East this year? If so, what was your favorite thing there, indie or otherwise? Also, I wish the panel could have gone on forever. Uncommon Soap. Thank you. We were very, very proud of that PAX East panel. That was awesome. You were a great crowd. We didn't. It's that weird thing of like, when I checked out more games at PAX this year than I have in the past when I'm just hosting panels. But still, like, walking the floor is a meet and greet, so you don't make as much room around as you don't make it to as many booths as you want to. I was super stoked to see Emily is away too. We just did a Gamescast topic on this, so I won't talk your ear off on it. Emily is away too. Obviously, I can't wait for the improvements they're making there, the dial-in of real YouTube. That's gonna be another fucking nostalgia trip that I can't wait to get on and have some girl on AIM break my heart again. Beyond that, Ape Out. Ape Out was fucking rad.
What's that? Do I need to go there?
You saw it. You remember it was in the
No,
Devolver
this thing
booth.
right here I'm looking at. Ape Out does look dope.
Oh,
What is that
you
thing?
should go everywhere. Yeah. You got. I can't tell if it's Fog of War. Undo this. Yeah, go over there. Okay. See what the fuck's up.
What's that thing? It's moving.
It looks like it's gonna be
Ooh,
cold.
There's a giant thing moving over there.
Oh yeah.
Is that with the Divine Beast?
It is.
It is. We like things.
Andre Lima, and I'm not gonna pronounce your last name, Andre, because I can't. Araujo. He says, "Hey Greg, Andre (parentheses Spider-Man with a kind of funny hoodie artist here. What's up?" If you're not familiar with Andre, of course he's been drawing Spider-Man, or he was for a while. He did Spidey, and then he did a couple issues of Spidey, and then he did, I want to say, a couple issues of Spider-Verse. But what he was doing is he would draw Spider-Man, and then he would put Peter Parker into a kind of funny hoodie. He would put Peter Parker in Peter Parker's bedroom. He'd put posters up for your boy Colin M, Greg Miller, Nick Scarpino, producer/producer. It's fucking awesome. If you are drawing comic books right now, please put kind of funny references in them. Yeah. You just bought Spidey?
Yeah, the first 5 issues in the book.
Yeah. Did you get the big one or the trades? Because they're selling them really big too.
Oh, no, it's regular size, but they're all in one book.
Nice. Yeah, no, Andre's a fucking awesome dude. Thank you for that. He says, much love to you. Much love to you all, and I wish lots of success to Colin. I'm writing you about PS I Love You and my suggestion. I definitely think you should keep doing a PlayStation show, but possibly a new one to avoid letting PS I Love You become a lesser thing, as there will always be something missing without Colin. You guys create great podcasts, and I'm sure you'll find a new structure and vehicle that fits you and your knowledge. PlayStation needs your voice. Well, thank you very much for that, Andre. Still trying to decide what I want to do with PS I Love You XOXO. Keep it going, rotating cast, completely new structure, move on and do a different show. There's still much to debate and figure out, but we have a few ideas. I have a few ideas for upcoming shows to figure out whether it's that or something new. You'll see. But thank you for the input. I do want the input. Christopher J. Brennan, I think, is back and says, "Hey, Greg. Oh, yeah, I already posted a question, but just wanted to give my support to you guys. I was very upset when Colin left, but have come around to it being best for all. I hope that you guys will remain friends and that he can come on every once in a while to give his insightful opinion on major gaming news or tentpole events or tentpole games like The Last of Us 2 or when Shuhei lets us change our names. Whatever you decide to do with PS I Love You, I hope you continue to do something PlayStation oriented because you Greg, he puts in parentheses, have become a big voice in that community. Yeah, I've been covering for 10 years, and it would not be the same without you. So while I understand if you want to cancel PS I Love You proper, I would urge you to start a different PlayStation show, even if it's less often, like once a month. You need a platform to be able to go to. You need a platform to be able to go to PSX after all. Also, the PS community cannot lose your voice. Losing Colin is bad enough for that community. Well, thank you, Christopher. Like I said, lots to debate, lots to figure out what the right path ahead for that show is. But that means a lot to me. And yeah, I do understand that I've been doing this a long time, 10 years of PlayStation coverage. So maybe just hanging it up would be different. But maybe changing the way we do Gamescast would be a better way. Maybe changing a little bit of the morning show would be. There's different ways around it. We'll figure it out.
Perfect. How dare you?
I'm just saying. Maybe there should be fewer fun clips and more PlayStation
There
stories.
were no fun clips today because the fun police came in and was like, I don't like fun.
I didn't even come in the show today. I didn't do anything.
It was Tim.
Oh, okay. Nate Meal says, hey, dudes, I was thinking, why not make a Colin hologram and set up a Colin soundboard for PS I Love You XOXO?
Thought about it.
Or just get a new host and start a new series of jokes about how Colin is dead, or where's Colin, or Colin really needs to show up to work. Really, though, don't fucking trash PS I Love You. I live for this shit, Greg, and you fucking got this, dude. We all believe in you, so get it done. All right, well, that's a good pep talk, Nate. Thank you very much. The Assassin, AK-47, who appears in the Kind of Funny AMA over on kindoffunny.com or youtube.com/kindoffunny. Hey, Greg, how is your relationship with Naomi Kyle? Would love to see her on a Gamescast or GOG. Also maybe convince her to leave IGN and become a new Kind of Funny employee. Ha ha. That's exactly what we want. Hey, things are finally great with IGN. Let's steal her host.
Steal someone.
Naomi and I are
Just kidding,
friends.
Pear.
Yeah, I mean, acquaintances. I don't know what you want. I mean, like, we're not like pen pals or whatever, but I'd love to have her come by for a Game Over Greggy show. She's always welcome. Gamescast too. I'm sorry. Don't mean to make it like, oh, the Game Over Greggy show. No, Naomi's welcome here anytime, and she's doing a lot of really interesting stuff with like her Twitch creative. I see she's doing a lot more hosting stuff and sponsorship stuff that I'd love to talk to her about. So yeah, no, Naomi's welcome anytime, and now that we are getting in the rhythm of guests, I'm definitely going to reach out to her eventually. Nicole Humphrey says, hi, Greg. You have often remarked that cell processing was a big failing of PS3. Can you elaborate why this is such a bad idea, or can you give any insight as to why Sony may have thought cell processing for the PS3 was worth pursuing? I can only give you a top level look here, and then what I've heard from other developers. Because when I'm saying that it was a big failing with the PS3, what cell processing did, and it was a different infrastructure to make games on it, right? So you couldn't just port over what you were working on an Xbox. And this is where they got into trouble, is that Xbox and PCs were pretty much the same thing. Granted, different, innards or whatever. But you could make those games go back and forth so easily that's why the PS3 was always falling behind and having worse frame rates and having shitty blacks and all this different stuff. It was the idea that the PS3 was so much more complicated to develop for that people didn't want to and people didn't put the time into, and that's why it was always just a fucking pile of shit when things happen on cross-platform games. And so I can't speak to you about what exactly that entails. I don't understand developing for the cell versus that. But I think, at that February event when they reveal the PlayStation 4, they come out very front and they, like I always said, they fell on their sword. They were like, hey, we heard your complaints. We know it was hard to develop for the PS3. That's why the PS4 is a souped up PC. It is easy to port. You're going to be able to bring your games over faster, quicker, be able to get through this. Why Sony thought that cell processing was worth pursuing in the PS3 era? I mean, I'm sure Jack or somebody's given an interview here. The argument I would make is, again, it was back to their hubris that they were PlayStation. They sold 1 million PS2s. They were clearly going to be top dog again, so everyone would make games for them on their platform and then worry about porting it the other way, porting it to 360, porting it to PC. When in reality, when 360 starts getting rolling, it's the other way around and they get the short end of the stick. And the final question for the Patreon.com/kindoffunnygames. Ask us anything. Comes from John BX32. My dude Greg, why haven't you picked up a Switch case from SF Bags yet? It's perfect and I love it. Oh, and you guys should bring Alana in for Gamescast. Hashtag Alana for Gamescast. Alana Pierce from IGN. Definitely another person I want to get in here for Gamescast. Marty Sleva, not fucking welcome, and I never want to see his face again. God, I hate him. Fucking the worst. So why haven't I gotten a Switch bag from SF Bags? If you know about SF Bags, Waterfield Designs at SF Bags on Twitter. I have a Vita case from them that I use all the time that I love. And that's because when they launched it, I hit them up, they sent it over, great. When the Switch came, it totally never even dawned. I don't keep up with what Waterfield Designs is doing in terms of bags. So when the Switch came, pre-ordered one off of Amazon, then that didn't come. Then somebody told me about SF Bags. I went over there, they were on back order. Then this Nintendo one came over and it's fine. Then we got the one from Amazon. That one sucked. I'm still open to seeing this one, but the one I have is getting the job done. And then I think one of you heard me. One of you on the streams for when I was playing Zelda were offering me your Sheikah Slate case. And I was like, well, don't do it. And he's like, I'm never going to use it. So I'm like, send it in. And if I like it, I'll keep that and then I'll give this away. Or vice versa. So I'm glad you like it. Do you have the big one? Because they have a big one where you can put like the dock in and everything else. And then they have the one that looks just like a bigger Vita case. But let me know if you like it because, I don't know. It's really cool and stylish. But then again, this bad boy's getting it done. This thing's doing
it done.
Get her done.
Getting it done.
Oh, ladies and gentlemen. Those are all the questions for the March 2017 Ask Kinda Funny Games Anything.
Good job.
Thank you very much. It was fun. I like these. I like these a lot. Just talking to the audience.
Yeah, I like it too. It's fun.
You being here, whatever, that's fine.
Watch this,
I just like that you're just playing Zelda. I'm very proud of you that you like video games.
It's fun.
Like you hop on that ass.
I'll hop on this ass. You have,
Just stops immediately.
yeah, the horse mechanic in this game is
Not your favorite?
stupid.
Oh, wow, okay. Well, ladies and gentlemen, remember, if you're watching this over on youtube.com/kindafunnygames, thank you so much. You can go to patreon.com/kindafunnygames. Support us there. You will see me post, hey, next month's Kinda Funny AMA games, Kinda Funny Games is going to be Tim. What questions do you have for Tim? And then you post them all, and then he'll put up a video like this at the end of the month. And then the cycle will repeat itself. And maybe one day
Ride this horse down.
it'll all start again, like the Matrix.
Standing
Tall
on the wings of my dreams.
Until next time, ladies and gentlemen, it's been our pleasure to serve you.